I think I'm live. I can't see whether I'm live, which is problematic on this front. Um, if anyone can hear me, then it would be really good if you could like chime in to tell me whether it's working. Um, so yeah. Oh, right, perfect. Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. I thought I'd do this video quickly. Kind of, it's beginning of well, it's the beginning of the end of this whole kind of road to ultra series. Um, it's been 42 weeks of training, basically, since I ran the first kind of ultra distance in January, which I think was January 13th. I think is the date that I wrote down somewhere, and since then I've logged 2,000 kilometers of running this year, and that's with quite a severe ankle injury back in March, I think, if we go back far enough, which ended up putting me off running or putting me out from running for 12 weeks. It was a really bad, yeah, tore the ligaments in my ankle off falling off. What did I fall off? Oh, how I fell off Deliverance at Stanage, and I was with Jake, and I smashed my foot, and yeah, tore all the ligaments, and had to drive back down from Sheffield. Yes, Eric, I am Polish, British Polish. I'm gonna hold on to my heritage on that one. Um, and yeah, and I just wanted to say thanks for everyone that kind of stood by. I know the channel hadn't been super active um, with the climbing content, and that's partly to do with exams and university and everything else getting the better of me, and it was also due to me kind of falling out of love with the sport. So it's really nice to see people still stood by the channel and messaged me on Instagram and everything, um, even when it all changed. So thank you. So the purpose of this video is thoughts, like last it's 5 days. It's been too many days of thinking, and I think the reality has somewhat set in now that it is actually this week. So I thought I'd kind of chuck it out there, how I'm feeling, what the goals are, um, and plans and kind of like other little bits and pieces to come. So I am feeling terrible about this race. I was so overly confident. I was so comfortable with the idea of 50 miles through this whole training block. And I really do believe in if you put the work in, the results will show and you will be fine, etc. But something about running last week where I did like I did like a 16K tempo run, and I was like, oh, 16K, okay, cool, 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 cool. Oh yeah, I've got to run 80 next weekend on trail. And that's when I think reality set in. But I think it's better to be nervous rather than overconfident. At least I respect the distance, and I am aware of the fact that it is a really long way. So that being said, goals for the race are oh, Lily. Goals for the race are you throwing me off there. Right. A goal is don't die. So that's goal A, is finish. It's a 15-hour cutoff for 50 miles, which is a really healthy amount of time. It's more than their normal ones. So I'm like, that's 3 hours a loop, which is that's kind of like power hiking pace actually. So there is really no reason I shouldn't finish the race short of a drastic injury. And then in terms of times, like I think anywhere, well, the cat is downstairs. In terms of times, I think 10 hours, 10xx, so like anything under 11 hours would be a really good result. Anything in the 9 region, I'd be really happy with, and 8 something, I think if everything were to go right on the day and my ankle's okay and the weather's okay and I don't get held up in the pack and I don't run into nutrition issues, and it's kind of like that would be an everything goes right, nothing goes wrong scenario. I back myself to run an 8 something. Now, you might be like, well, you can't really say that because you've never run the distance, and you're 100% correct. I went out there quite recently, like just before my marathon, actually. I went out there. Was it after my marathon? It was either just before or just after my marathon. I went out there to do a double loop of the course in relatively similar conditions to how it is now. And ended up running 1 hour 45 loops, literally within 7 seconds of each other per loop, which suggested 2 things to me. One, the fitness is there. Granted, it was only 32 kilometers or 33 kilometers, so it's not quite 80. But secondly, I was clearly very in tune with how I was feeling and how to pace myself off feel instead of heart rate. And it just showed to me that I have the engine essentially to make that, you know, eight something works. 145 is what, 3:30, 7 hours, 8:45 plus time. Yeah, see, 145 average would put me in that including rest stops would put me in the 8 region. But you know, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go 8 anything. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go 9 anything. I am a total ultra virgin at this point. And the one thing that I've learned over this last training block is you really can't plan for everything, which is where I think a lot of my mental strength will come in handy. You know, it's been quite a hard few months. It's been a lot of fun, but I think I back myself heavily to finish, which is, yeah, I suppose that's all I can really hope for at this point. That's what this whole journey's been about. So, and then I think a little bit more of a more realistic goal, because time is really arbitrary on these trail races because it's just so condition dependent. So I think it would be good to kind of get a goal of top 40 in the field or something. You know, let's throw that out there. Top 40 overall, which, yeah, I think there are 250 entrants or 300 entrants. So I think that will be where I start, kind of in terms of goals. Will be focusing on position rather than time and let time follow. I do have a slight time sensitive issue because my parents have decided that they want to go out for dinner. So I actually need to be finished kind of before their dinner date. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to come pick me up. So I have a slight incentive on that front, which will be fine. You know, it's a great reason to hurry up, and you know, right, what am I going to eat during the run? Right, yes. So I'm going to do I'll do a more thorough gear video later on this week, maybe on Friday before the race, or Wednesday, as I don't actually have any classes on Wednesdays anymore. Sorry, I'm just trying to move this light just because my room's quite dark. So at the moment, I'm kind of resorting to only things that I've used during training. So I'm going to be using CIS gels, Science and Sport gels, Tribe bars, because I like them, actually. I didn't think I would when I first started using them because they were vegan and yada, yada, yada. But I run really well on them. They don't upset my stomach. They've got energy bars and they've got protein bars. So it's kind of like they work really well for me. I actually have a discount code for anyone that wants that. It's my name. Well, it's MPOPLAWSKI, and you get 6 bars for £2 on their website. and I'm going to use Tri bars, and then kind of things like peanut M&Ms, jerky because of the salt, and banana bread peanut butter sandwiches, and electrolytes drink basically, and ginger beer, and pretty much anything else I decide on the day. Like, I don't really know how I'm going to be feeling, but I know for a staple at the beginning of each loop, I'm going to say 1 Tri bar, 1 gel, 500 ml of electrolytes, 500 ml of water, and Sam, my friend from university, is very kindly coming out to crew me. He's coming out for the whole weekend, in fact, and he's got some instructions, kind of what needs to be done at the end of each loop, but he's going to be making sure that, especially on the first loops, I'll be smashing calories hard, because there's a lot of evidence to suggest that as the loops go on, your digestive tract basically shuts down on you, and you stop being able to absorb food, and then that's basically when you crash. So you need to kind of store the calories really early on, and go from there. So we'll go with that. I think that's basically that in terms of diet. I'll be doing a gear video in terms of specific shoes, etc., that I'll be running in. There will be live tracking as well online. Yeah. I think they've updated it this year, so it's at every checkpoint that they update it now. I don't know, I think last year was just at the end of each loop. So I'll be posting that on my Instagram as well on race day. So if anyone wants to follow along with that. Also, don't forget to drop this video a like if you're still listening to the stream, because it helps me a lot. So, because I forgot to say thank you during the stream, Eric, and I don't know if you've gone. Yeah, it helps a lot if you drop this a like. Thank you to everyone who just dropped it a like. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to just touch base with a few of you, because it's been a while. Don't really know what else to say, actually. Kind of wanted to just kind of set the goals and kind of put it all out there. Why do I do ultras? How did you get into it? I blame 2 important factors in my life for why I do ultras. One is the Discord channel running, because pretty much like 50% of the active posters on there, or talkers, do ultras. So it's really hard to ignore the fact that they're like, oh, I'm going to go run 50 miles this weekend. And you're like, that's actually quite impressive. Maybe I can possibly do that as well. Which is, I think, that kind of started at the same time that I got involved with the National Ankylosing Spondylitis Society charity, and the chairman of the charity, Raj Mahapatra, is an ultra marathoner, and he reached out to me and just kind of mentions the fact that there are quite a few people with the same condition as me that do incredible things, and kind of linked me some profiles of people and what they do, and a lot of them were ultra runners as well. So I was kind of like, well, I guess I found it as a road of something that I know could possibly be done by people with the same condition as me, but it hasn't been done by me. So really, what's my excuse for not having done it yet? So that's why, actually. And yeah, I think the whole thing now is kind of just an exercise in discipline. And I think, regardless of the result on Saturday now, I'm quite proud of how everything went this year, and like how committed and disciplined and how on top of everything that I was to try and make it work. And it kind of just showed to me that I can if I want to, which is the big thing. So it set me up in good stead for pretty much anything else that I decide to do in the future. So I think that's one of the big reasons I got into it, because it just teaches you a lot of lessons. Like, I may never run an ultra again. Like, don't get me wrong. You know, goals have already started shifting, which is bad in my form, because I should be concentrating on this one in front of me. But it's already started shifting towards triathlon which I think is where kind of naturally my talent lies, um, is in triathlon. So I think I'm going to kind of purely focus on that after the season. I think I answered your question before I think I answered your question before you even asked it, actually. And I think the internet cut out for a moment. But yeah, I think I'll do some one or two here. Like I think 50K would be a good distance because it's close enough to a marathon that I can justify the training. But you know, the goals are shifting. I'd like to qualify for Ironman 70.3 Worlds, and I think that's really where I'm gonna go from here. I may start a series on the Zwift Academy stuff because that started today. It's open for 63 days. You've got to complete six training rides, one race, and then 5 training runs and one race or something before January 16th, I want to say. So I'm going to try that this year and see how I do there. And I think that would be the goals going forward from here, is to try and make it as a triathlete. I've got the swimming, the running is pretty okay, and the biking is really improving quite quickly. So goals next season: qualify for Worlds, 75 half marathon, and get my FTP up to like 5 watts per kilo. And it's at 4.6 or 4.7 right now. So yeah, right. I think that's long enough. Otherwise, it's going to drag out for hours, as much as fun as it was. You can, if anyone's here on YouTube, wants to carry on this conversation, feel free to swing onto the running ultra running Discord. We're not all ultra runners, but swing onto the running Discord, or drop me a message on Instagram, or you know, just say hi. And it'll be really nice to hear from any of you on race day or this weekend. And yeah, just thanks again for being here for the journey so far. So I will catch you guys next time. Pieces. How do I end this? Nope, that's not how you end it. Who knows?